Hello and welcome to my annotated video slideshow of my summary of the module Academic and Professional Skills. This module was created in order to help develop my Level 7 academic skills. Throughout this module I was required to create an e-portfolio comprised of reflections and academic pieces in various forms of media. This was all to document my professional and practical skills as I go through the first year of study. The purpose of any module is to facilitate learning and have the students learn as effectively as possible. A multi-pronged approach to learning has been shown to work best for many students. The four main established learning styles are visual, auditory, reading and writing, and kinesthetic. This module, including the OSPEs, provides at one point or another all of these learning styles. For this module, we needed somewhere to compile all of our coursework, so we were required to complete a website or blog. I chose to do my e-portfolio on Wix. I chose Wix as it has an easier approach to website building than most other platforms and has the majority of the layout formats put in place for you. However, I did still struggle with certain parts of formatting, especially trying to put comment boxes on my website and trying to organise the posts into different categories, as Wix only allows one blog thread. The commercialisation of the internet in the 1990s led to an unprecedented growth, with millions of people surfing the web all over the world. Due to its vast reach and interactive capabilities, this made it the perfect platform for marketing and advertisement of businesses. If we fast forward to 2018, almost all businesses will now have some sort of online presence. This is why, although I found completing the website frustrating and time-consuming at points, especially to do with formatting and uploading work, I completely understand the value of having these skills. I myself would be reluctant to use the services of a physiotherapist unless I could find some sort of online presence and evidence of their ability to work. A vast percentage of this module was comprised of reflections. For this module, I completed a detailed reflection on many aspects of the first year, all of which can be found on my website under the title Reflections. For this video summary, I will not go into detail of each reflection as I've already done so in a written format and don't want to repeat myself. I will instead focus on the two reflections that have benefited me the most. Out of all of my reflections, I found the review and reflection on the current legislation practices that would be applicable to me as a veterinary physiotherapist in the future the most time-consuming. I found it took me a long time to put together, as before this review I had minimal to no knowledge in this area. Having a thorough understanding of the legislation applicable to me is vital nonetheless, and it is something I would have completely overlooked if it were not for this module. As a veterinary physiotherapist, I will not only be working with animals but also alongside an owner and often a vet, meaning the legislation will vary for me. Even though my main work is with animals, it still involves people, bringing in legislation such as the Data Protection Act for the owners of the animals, as you have personal details on file. Legislation creates guidelines that must be followed, whether it's directly to do with the welfare of the animal or whether it's more to do with ensuring correct procedure is followed, which is why I took it upon myself to thoroughly go through the legislation that will apply to me in the future. The other reflection I would like to talk about here is the reflection on the OSPEs. This is something I went into believing I had all the knowledge I needed to pass. I was happy handling the animals and have worked with both horses and dogs to some extent before in a professional setting. What I didn't account for is how nervous I would get. I completely freaked out and due to this forgot to put my gloves on for the equine test and so got an automatic fail. I think this was due to the fact I've never had someone viewing me completing tasks in an exam setting, and it really threw me off. If I was left to my own devices after this test, I would have pushed it out of my mind and tried to ignore it because I was so angry at myself. Having to do the reflection on it actually greatly helped me, as it allowed me to look at it objectively, accept what had happened, and find ways in which to improve for my resit. Reflecting on the OSPEs reminded me I need to go in calmly and just complete the task given to me without rushing myself. Exam settings have been shown to express a psychobiological stress response. I think it's important for me to remember this, and that it's not just me that gets stressed in exam situations, and it's completely normal. Also, coping with exam stress can be considered a process which improves over time as you become more accustomed to the situation. Which, to be fair, I did find true. Even after the equine OSPE, which had discouraged me initially going into the canine OSPE, I found I was calmer carrying out the tasks with the dog than the horse. And I believe this to be because I had adapted to being watched and found this less off-putting in my second exam. I've come to realise that it's not until you reflect upon your work that you can understand it on a deeper level. Most of the time I complete work, especially coursework, once it's finished, and I never look at it again. This module forced me to reflect upon my work, which I've actually found very helpful. Learning happens through a mixture of theory, practice, thoughts, actions, and reflecting on your own work allows you to self-learn. It highlights aspects in which you could have done better and parts that you may be proud of, which you can then take forward into future work. While the majority of the work was reflection-based, I also had a few more academic-based elements. This comprised of a group presentation critically analysing a scientific paper, completing a mock poster to advertise yourself as a veteran physiotherapist, and critically analysing a welfare topic of your choosing. I actually generally found I felt more comfortable completing these aspects of work rather than the reflections. The academic writing pieces were similar in structure to things I'd completed in my undergraduate degree, where the reflections was something completely new to me as I wasn't used to writing in terms of my opinions and emotions. One piece which I would like to talk about in more detail was when I had to critically analyse a welfare topic of my choice. I chose to talk about intensive management of the equine in terms of permanent stabling. I chose this topic as in my place of work the horses are stabled with no option for turnout, and I wanted to learn more about the effects this may have on them. Completing this piece of work did give me a wider understanding of stabling and how it can negatively impact the health of the horse. Most interestingly, I found out stabling can impact hoof health in the equine. Standing still for long periods of time reduces blood flow to the hoof, which is vital to carry nutrients and moisture to maintain the keratin-water balance. When a horse moves, pressure is applied to the hoof heel expands outwardly while the frog and sole expand downwardly and the digital cushion compresses. This expansion and compression pumps venous blood in the hoof proximally to the leg. The release of this pressure resets the structures and arterial blood flow returns to the hoof. This pumping action that occurs during locomotion ensures moisture and nutrients are provided throughout the hoof, maintaining keratin flexibility. With reduced locomotory action in stable, the hooves can become dry and brittle, often cracking, causing pain and discomfort to the horse. Writing this piece of work helped me outside of the academic environment, as I can implement ways in which to counteract some of the negatives of stabling, such as ensuring the horses are not in the stable all day and even on their days off are taken for a short walk to encourage good hoof health. Part of this module involved creating a personal development plan. Completing a personal development plan helped me create an action plan for this course, what I want to get out of it and anything I want to achieve alongside it. The process of creating the plan is based on awareness of current strengths and weaknesses, my values, reflections on past work and achievements, and goal setting for the future. I found completing the personal development plan very useful as it allowed me to consolidate all of my ideas into a viable plan in one piece of writing, allowing me to highlight certain aspects I would like to improve on for this course and how to do so. For example, I would like to increase my anatomy knowledge and understanding of how the musculoskeletal system functions as a whole in both dogs and horses. I have learnt from this module that incorporating different styles of learning is the best way to retain knowledge, which I plan to do so by using a few study tactics such as watching video dissections, making colour posters, taking notes, and making flashcards. One aspect of this module that was completely new to me was the peer marking. I haven't ever marked someone else's work in an academic format. I found I had mixed feelings on both receiving feedback and giving it. In terms of receiving feedback from other students, I found it to be both helpful and unhelpful depending on the student. Some feedback I received was great and it helped me identify incorrect grammar or referencing, also pointing out areas I should look further into. However, some feedback seemed to be quite vague and self-doubting, which made me think the student marking my work wasn't clear on the brief themselves. In terms of giving feedback to other students, initially I felt slightly lost. I was worried about being overly critical when I myself wasn't sure how well I'd done in that piece of work. Once I started using the marking rubric, I found peer marking much easier. It gave me a structure to go off, and I even found marking other students' work gave me certain tips for myself. For example, if someone made a good point I'd overlooked, it allowed me to realise this and look into it myself. Asking students to engage in peer feedback has many benefits, as it requires students to question how assessors come to certain marks and encourages us to define the learning outcomes and how to assess those outcomes ourselves. This provides an extra point of reference for future work, enabling us to view it from not only our own perspective, but also that of the marker, in turn promoting higher grades. I found this module very time consuming to do. I spent a lot of hours trying to figure out formatting and placement of the website, and even more time trying to complete this video, such as finding free downloadable software, editing the video, recording my voice, and syncing up audio tracks in time with pictures and annotations. I found this module has definitely helped me to improve my time management and reflection skills. Before this module started, I had never reflected on work, perhaps missing out opportunities to improve. This module has also helped me to expand my knowledge into other subject areas. For example, on many reflections, I wasn't just researching about anatomy or physiology, I was also looking at studies on learning and research into what helps students retain knowledge and information. This in turn has had a good knock-on effect to my studies, as it's helped me find new ways in which to learn information and to aid my knowledge retention. Thank you for watching.